Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. My 24 females, grandfather and my brother Ted, 25 male, never got on. It was obvious from when Ted was little. Grandpa Gary wasn't the nicest guy, but Ted has some personality issues that made him break things just to be a little asshole. He would just drop dishes to see what people did. We were never told kids should never be responsible for their behavior. It is not how I was raised, and I don't believe all bullish behavior falls to the parents, as guilty people. Ted just had issues and nothing we did worked. Grandpa Gary died when I was 18 and Ted was 19. Grandpa left everything to me. I mean everything. The house, his car, his money. I even got his cats. My parents got some heirlooms and a little money from his insurance, but everything else went to me. We don't have cousins, and my parents don't have siblings, so it wasn't a surprise. Grandpa told my parents he wouldn't leave Ted anything because Ted was an asshole. I remember them commenting on how Grandpa wasn't wrong, because Ted has always been an asshole, even as a kid. He bullied me enough and destroyed things for no reason that I'm not inclined to disagree with. Then again, my parents aren't winners either. I am even called a bitch by some people, though therapy has helped me understand that my past has a lot to do with the excuses I used to make. Either way, I'm working on it, and Ted is an adult asshole now. My parents didn't have the right to tell me to give Ted some of the money. At the time, Ted and I were not talking due to his bullying. He used to make a big deal about my weight, even though I was healthy. He also embarrassed me, stole from me, and broke my stuff. So I moved out. I ended up moving into Grandpa Gary's house and it was great. I had money from college, my own space, and my parents couldn't really do anything about it. They asked if Ted could stay with me. I said no. So I have been doing pretty well. I didn't spend all the money at once. I actually had someone help me invest. I have been living in the same house and have a job I love. I spent my salary and saved the money Grandpa Gary gave me. I have been dating on and off, but I'm pretty content with my life. Ted came back into my life last year. His wife left him and he pays a ton of child support for his 2 kids. Since he has come back, I have seen him every time I visit my parents. He lives with them. It is insufferable to visit my parents at all. They keep telling me I should let Ted live with me. I should be a good sister and give him money to pay off his debts. Grandpa Gary would have wanted it if he knew Ted had kids, which isn't true. Grandpa hated Ted. And I'm not much of a fan either. I try to go when Ted is not there, but he comes home because Mom texts him. He has been cornering me and trying to hang out. We went to a bar and he told the bartender he was on my tab. I paid in cash, so there were no mysterious tabs. If Ted had been an awesome brother, I might help him out. But he is kind of a loser and I don't really want much to do with him. It might make me selfish, but I have a happy life and don't feel inclined to give Ted a hand. How do I handle this? Update. I wrote what I wanted to say down. I then informed my parents I would be over to speak with them. I outlined everything that Ted has done in the past to me, from stealing to bullying to making fun of my friends. I told them that he has not changed and I would not be including Ted in my life. Ted hasn't asked for custody of his kids and never wants to see them. He just needs money to pay back child support. He spent the money on himself. He had it. He just didn't want to spend it on kids he didn't want anymore. I let my parents know that I have invested the money given to me and was not going to be putting it towards Ted. When I died, the money would be going to a charity, and that I planned to not be a cash cow for Ted, ever. The parents were not happy about that. They told me that they wanted Ted out of their house. He had been doing nothing but making their lives hard. I pointed them in the direction of a page about our state's month-to-month tenant laws. They gave Ted his formal get-out papers this morning. He has 30 days to get out, or they will evict him. They wanted him to stay with me to feel less guilty. They thought I might be able to show him how to straighten up. If it hasn't happened by now, I doubt it would. I told them that they had screwed up by not fixing this when Ted was younger, that Grandpa Gary knew the type of person Ted was, and left me the money for a reason. I wasn't going to piss on Grandpa's grave by saying, "Here, Ted, never learn from your mistakes." Also, I hate Ted. I don't like being near him. I tried to hang out with him a few times just to see if he changed. Nope, now he has the legal right to do whatever he wants short of a crime, and that makes him an even bigger asshole. I am an adult and can do what I like is a terrible power for assholes to have, and Ted has it in abundance. This is not to say my family is filled with saints. I learned a long time ago that I have some issues from my upbringing. However, I have tried very hard to overcome this. If Ted was trying, I might help, but not really. I did, however, contact his ex and arranged to meet up with my siblings to meet them. I let her know I wanted to be involved in their life, even if it's seeing her a few times a year. She told me that Ted said I was an abusive asshole who stole his money. I let her know my side and said she didn't have to have anything to do with me if she didn't want to. I just wanted to know my family. Their father being an asshole shouldn't mean the rest of the family is going to cut them off. She pretty much told me that she wants nothing to do with my family at all. My parents made her feel like a bitch for leaving Ted and demanded she let them help raise the kids. Knowing how Ted turned out, she wants nothing to do with them, even if they are nice. She's afraid Ted will have access to the kids. From the sound of it, Ted might have been an unpleasant partner, so I sent them $500 for the holidays, letting her know it is not from Ted, never was from Ted. Please do not count it towards payments owed. She thanks me. She's going to be sending me some pictures through Facebook, and that maybe I can meet them. She doesn't know. I guess she thinks I'm going to use this connection to help my brother. I let her know I actually want no contact with Ted, and he wasn't even aware I had a Facebook. I also don't have my parents on my Facebook, so it's not an issue. Hopefully, I will be able to be in their life. If not, I completely understand why she might not want to. So that is the update. Thanks for listening. OP, bravo on how you stood up to your parents. And bravo again on how you reached out to Ted's ex. That was really nice of you. Give her time. She's been stung badly, and if she's slow to trust you, that's understandable. I hope you've written a will that backs up what you've said, but I think you should adjust that will to leave some money directly to Ted's kids. It sounds like they might grow up needing it, but I do hope you get to be in their life because they deserve a nice auntie like you in their life, because they already don't have a dad given how awful Ted is. Now for some comments. I got a brother-in-law who is pretty much the same way. He won't grow up, kick his meth problem, or become a responsible person until he doesn't have anyone he can persuade, bribe, or blackmail and guilt trip into helping him out. He has burned every bridge. He has pretty much, after his stunt with Grandma's house, he tried to take ownership of the house when it was going to be fixed up and sold to pay for her assisted living. Glad you were able to cut off your brother, and hopefully you can get to see your nieces or nephews. My wife was over the moon when she was able to see her nephew again. She lost 7 years of contact with him because of her loser of a brother. Just give it time. But yeah, no more money. You can send actual gifts for the kids or gift cards to be used at specific stores like Target or Walmart. Also, if any of this ends up in court, either side can end up making a stink about you being in contact with his ex and kids without his knowledge or permission. It probably won't hold up, but it is something that can be skewed in someone's favor, one way or another, so just feel it out carefully. Ted is amusing, since most people would not consider a guy with no money who lives with his parents an actual adult, even if he is 25. He's in for a rude awakening after he leaves the parents' house. Or at least I hope so. Hopefully he won't go straight up criminal. But good for you. Hang tight. Story 2. So I grew up with 3 sisters, my mom, 2 cousins, and my aunt all in one house. I was pretty much the only guy in the house, and as a result often felt like the odd one out. Was actively excluded a lot and tried to move to my dad multiple times. But my mom would threaten with depression and so on. That is a story for another day. The only relevant thing is that until I went to college, I lived at home and I hated it. All of my sisters are younger than me, to clarify. At the end of the day, 2 of my sisters were very close to me, included me, and I loved them a lot. They always went above and beyond for me and me for them. They had their own problems with my mom, my other sister and our cousins, so it wasn't just me with issues, but I had it worst all in all. That brings us several years in the future. All my sisters went to college. The youngest one is still in college, but for me, things went really well. I got a really good job after college and was the main beneficiary of my grandfather's inheritance. So as a result, earnings-wise, I am in the upper middle class, but I also inherited some properties and a large amount of money. So with that in mind, my income is doubled each month, and I got a lot in savings and such. Now, this is where the moral issue appears. I'm not close to the one sister, my mom, aunt, or cousin. I rarely see them anymore, whereas I'm extremely close to my 2 sisters. As a result, I surprised them and paid off their student debts. Now, apparently, in their excitement, they told my mom, who told my sister and cousins, and all of a sudden they all try to call me a lot. And on the occasions that I answer, they hint at having a lot of debt. My sisters also say they feel bad for my other sister. Now, I get their point, and let me clarify, I do not hate my sister either. As for my cousins, I'm not paying anything for them, obviously. So I have been feeling bad about it. On the other hand, I'm not close to my sister at all, so judge me. OP, I could understand why the other sister, your cousins and mother would find it unfair to exclude them. Even though you're not really excluding them per se, you're just rewarding an exceptionally special relationship you have with your other sisters. But they are your family, and I understand why they would feel entitled to the money you inherited from your grandfather. Just pay the money this once, since it wouldn't break your bank. This way you can avoid the implications of paying for only 2 of the 3 sisters' debts, because this will definitely create a rift in your family. So paying off the debts might be the best option in this situation.